Donald Trump was panicking at 12:05 a.m., fearing another impeachment that will be coming in 2027 if and when Democrats take over the House of Representatives. Post after post on social media, Donald Trump calling on Republicans, please expel Jamie Raskin right now. He's impeached me before and we got to stop him before he impeaches me again. Donald Trump knows it's over. He knows that very soon he and the MAGA Republicans will be wiped out in a blue tsunami, and he is posting in panic all night. And this comes on the same night into the morning where Donald Trump announced to the world that he was going to agree to all of Iran's framework once again as it relates to this catastrophic and unlawful war that Trump and Netanyahu started. Donald Trump posting the following message and then reposting Mark Levin. Post and post. Go to sleep, Donald. Go to sleep. Here's what he writes. Jamie Raskin, a loser in life who worked endlessly during my first term to impeach me and failed miserably, wasting the country's money, time, and effort, will guarantee to try to do it again, despite one of the most successful presidencies in history. The last one that went after me on impeachment was a pathetic soul, Al Green, who just lost his race in a landslide to an unknown candidate, but in my opinion, one that had more talent than Raskin. He spent time on the Unselect Committee of Political Hacks and Thugs and was rebuffed on that. Who rebuffed him? You and your MAGA morons? Just as he has been rebuffed on impeachment and many other things. If Biden didn't give him a pardon, he'd be in jail right now. Something should be done about people like this who do bad things but always come up on the short end because of their illegal and unscrupulous behavior and hurt our country in the process. I agree with Mark Levin when he says, expel the bum. Expel him now. Congress can never be great with people like this who suffer massively from Trump derangement syndrome, casting their vote of hate. Donald J. Trump. And then he reposts Mark Levin from Fox. The House should trigger the expulsion process against Jamie Raskin. What are you going to trigger the expulsion process against Jamie Raskin for? Jamie Raskin is already leading a plot to impeach the president if the Democrats take the House. He led the prior two impeachments against the president, has pushed for his resignation in the past, also was involved in twisting the 14th Amendment to ban candidate Trump from ballots, objected to electoral college votes for Trump in the first election, and was a member of the Pelosi January 6th committee that, among other things, destroyed records before the GOP took over the House. Pause. They didn't destroy records. That's literally what Trump's DOJ is doing. The January 6th impeachment files are located online. Anybody can access them. Unlike you all in the Trump DOJ, who's quite literally purging and deleting information about January 6th insurrectionists from public records. Mark Levin goes on to say, and Donald Trump's reposting this all night, Republicans should move to expel Jamie Raskin from the House if he can continue to abuse our constitutional system and undermine the process and undermine our electoral process. Ironic, since he blames Trump and the Republicans for doing so, having led every effort described above, then take the necessary steps to charge him under the expulsion clause, because I can think of no other way to push back against this kind of abuse of the impeachment clause by Raskin and the Democrats. This is what Donald Trump was doing all yesterday, all night, and all morning. He's also now working with MAGA Republicans to have them pass a resolution symbolically voiding his prior two impeachments. You can't undo your impeachments, but he just wants the House to pass a resolution saying that they undo his prior two impeachments, even though that's not something you're allowed to do. And so this was leaked to the Wall Street Journal, and Trump wants his allies in the House to be able to just pass a symbolic resolution to say the impeachments didn't really count. It's not going to work like that. And by the way, he has Al Green on his mind over impeachment. So I'm going to do another video on this, but MAGA Mike just shut down Congress for another 2 weeks. Sounds like deja vu. Yet he's doing it again. He's shutting down Congress for 2 weeks. This is after FISA's Section 702 extension was rejected by 19 Republicans and it didn't pass in the House of Representatives. And in the Senate, they said, unless you get rid of Bill Pulte as acting ODNI, the Director of National Intelligence, we ain't going to support any extension of these warrantless FISA searches. Bill Pulte's going to use it and abuse it to get records on Americans, what they're saying. So here's what Al Green took to the floor. He was the last speaker before MAGA Mike shut down Congress. And here's what he said. Let's play this clip.
So because you have no shame in you, Mr. President, I would call to your attention that while I am unbought, unbossed, unafraid, and unelected, censured but not silenced, Mr. President, there is still a countdown to impeachment. And Mr. President, it is just a matter of time. Your day of reckoning will come. Someone is going to stand in the well of this House of Representatives and is going to introduce articles of impeachment against you. And these articles are going to pass in this House of Representatives. Before that person does it, however, I believe that there will be someone who will introduce articles to lay the foundation for the actual articles that will later on pass the House of Representatives. There's always someone who lays the foundation for things. Foundation was laid at the Edmund Pettus Bridge for the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Foundation was laid to eliminate invidious discrimination in busing, on bus lines, when Rosa Parks took a seat and ignited a spark that started a civil rights movement. So someone's going to lay the foundation. And Mr. President, you should know you will be impeached again. You will be 3 times impeached. Mr. Speaker, with that said, I, Al Green, a proud, unbought, unbossed, unafraid, unelected, truly liberated Democrat, I yield back the balance of my time.
Now, Donald Trump is talking about expelling Jamie Raskin, and he's having these nightmares over his impeachment that will take place in 2027. Shortly after, or a few hours after, he held that Oval Office press conference where he said he's done a deal with Iran and he's agreed to Iran's framework and America's going to leave. And here's the latest about what he leaked to Barack Ravid, his personal stenographer. A diplomat from one of the mediating countries who went over the clauses of the updated draft agreement with Barack Ravid said that, quote, the U.S. and Iran have reached an agreement on the text of the deal, but admitted that final approval is still required. However, American Air Force planes took off for Europe last night with equipment in preparation for the possibility of a trip by Vice President Vance to a signing ceremony in Geneva in the coming days. Why don't you go there, Donald? Why don't you go there? You say you're going to go to the G7 meeting. Aren't you proud of your deal? Oh, you want J.D. Vance to do it? So when people say that you basically engaged in this catastrophic war and then gave up everything to Iran when we should never have been in this war and we lost this war. So of course we knew this was going to be the outcome. That's what you want J.D. Vance to be there. By the way, last night as well, according to Fox and other sources, Iran targeted ships in the Strait of Hormuz that were trying to get out and block and breach the Iranian control over the Strait of Hormuz. Iran used one-way drone strikes to stop those ships from getting past the Iranian control over the Strait of Hormuz. It's like one last effort by Donald. Let's bring the ships out. And Iran's like, no, no, no. Also, the Iranian Air Force carried out another patrol over Western Iran, as AMK Mapping explains, near the border with Iraq a few hours ago. That was last night. This continues to be a regular, almost daily occurrence for them. And as this account says, they are doing surprisingly well for an Air Force supposedly completely destroyed and defeated, according to Trump. Then you had Netanyahu come out with a statement, and Netanyahu said, yeah, I'm not a member of this deal. Trump spoke this evening with Netanyahu about the emerging memorandum of understanding. Although Israel is not a party to the Memorandum of Understanding, the Prime Minister expressed his appreciation for Trump's commitment that the final agreement at the conclusion of the negotiations will include the removal of enriched material, the dismantling of the infrastructure, the limitation of missile production, and the cessation of Iran's support for its terrorist proxies in the region. Yeah, it's not going to happen. It's not what's going to happen. And how are some of the most renowned professors on this area of expertise talking about it? First, University of Chicago professor John Mearsheimer. Here's how he described it. Let's play it.
To view. The point is that we're checkmated, and Trump fully understands that. And he also has to understand that he's got to shut this thing down. This just can't keep going on for economic reasons.
Next, I'll share with you Professor Pape, also a political science professor over at University of Chicago. Here's how he described Iran now having maximum leverage. Let's play it.
We're about to enter the period of maximum leverage for Iran. That hasn't started yet. See, when we hit the oil inventory cliff, as we're going to do in the middle of July, end of July, August 1, that means when our inventories go down, Iran's leverage goes up and will stay up through the midterms and probably a bit beyond. So that is why there's very little chance Iran's going to cut a deal right now. Why would it cut a deal when its leverage is about to grow? Everybody knows it's going to grow. President Trump can talk down oil prices only for so long. Once that oil inventory dries up here at the end of first week of August, as all the world's experts, the actual experts, are predicting. I just spent 4 hours with them last night at the University of Chicago. They flew in from around the world. That is really going to hit, Laura, August 1. The only debate among the experts is it July 25 or August 7.
Oh, wow.
That's the actual debate. And look at that from Iran's perspective, Laura. That means they just ride this out, and then if they want to do damage to Trump, real damage to Trump, you let those gas prices go from 6 to 7 to 7.50 sometime in September 30th. Now you're talking real. This is what I think Iran's looking for.
And of course, they have maximum leverage against the guy in the Oval Office who continues to fall asleep during press conferences like the one he had yesterday. Play this clip.
50% of the country's seafood.
Then when he wasn't falling asleep, he was praising the Iranian leadership, finding them very rational, very easy to deal with. Big fan of them. Let's play this clip.
Of the country. I really believe it's a regime change because I find these people to be much more rational than the people that are no longer with us. We knocked out the first team of leadership, the second team of leadership. There's a different group, there's a different level, and I think it's frankly a smarter level, and it's a level that has reason. And they've all approved the deal. Everybody's approved the deal. Now we'll get it finished up, and hopefully that'll be done.
And then, of course, Defense Secretary, failed Fox News anchor, failed nonprofit military guy, Pete Hegseth. This is what Pete Hegseth was doing. As Brian Krasenstein says, this sums up how successful we have been in Iran. Watch Hegseth try to do some bench press right here. Let's play it.
44. One more. 35. Let's go. Push. Come on, hit it. Somebody get in here.
As AJ Perez writes, someone knew going in that Hegseth needed some help, so they put down bumpers on each side of the bench, and he didn't use them, so he got a bunch of alligator reps, and that was called out as somebody yelled, all the way down, all the way up. Hope that hero remains at the Department of Defense. Clown show regime. Speaking of which, Six Flags zombie movie in front of the White House. Six Flags White House sponsored by Bud Light. This is what the White House looks like right now. You can't make this stuff up. It's beyond parody for the UFC fight. As I said, it looks like a dystopian zombie movie. Six Flags, bankrupt Six Flags, what it looks like. Oh, I'm going to do a video right after this, so hopefully you'll watch it, where I'm going to talk about all the algae that's now in the reflecting pool already, and the gnats and the mosquitoes and the storm. Storm is coming, Donald, for his birthday. Sweet dreams. You're going to be impeached again. Third time's a charm. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million. Seriously, double check that you're subscribed. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks, everybody. Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.